How do you like that? It's not raining. Good evening. Thanks for coming. Well, welcome to a story about Ojai and change. Our story starts in the winter of 1907 when Edward Drummond Libbey and his wife Florence first visited Ojai. Mr. Libbey owned the very successful Libbey Glass Company in Toledo, Ohio, but Ohio winters couldn't compare to Ojai winters. So the Libbeys built a vacation estate on Foothill Road, and as elegant as their new home was, downtown Ojai was anything but. Dowdy, run-down wooden buildings slumped on the north side of Main Street, right out there, on a rutted, dirty road. But the spectacular beauty of the Ojai Valley inspired Libbey to propose changes to remake Ojai into the jewel it is today. But change is difficult, and not everyone agreed. Jumping ahead, we are now in downtown Ojai, 1917, exactly 100 years ago. Today is the day before the first Libbey Ojai Day, honoring the town's benefactor, and recent renaming of the town from Nordhoff to Ojai. The people and merchants of Ojai start their day, shop doors open, the streets filled with townsfolk on their way to school, work, the fields, and shops. We are at the charmingly shabby Creek Hotel right here in this park. A man steps out of the room. This is Chester Chet Crockett, an Ojai pioneer. He takes in this town he has called home for more than 40 years and starts his morning stroll down Main Street to the Clark Livery Stable, where the dry cleaners is, where inside he hears a loud backfire and a cloud of smoke pours out from inside. Emerging from the middle of the cloud is Jonah Mueller, Ojai's most eligible young bachelor. He's covered in grease and dirt. He's carrying a large wrench and a carburetor in his hand.
Good Lord, Jonah, what's going on in there?
Morning, Chet.
What in God's green earth are you up to?
It's the future, Chet. Pretty soon, horses will be a thing of the past. The automobile, Chet. You need to get yourself one, you really do.
Jonah, all I need at my age is a good evacuation in the morning and a good nap in the afternoon.
You're never too old for change, Chet.
That's easy to say when you're still a pup.
Well, it's still true.
Say, did I ever tell you about the old man walking down the road?
No, Chet, I don't believe
Well, see, there was this old man. He was walking down the road, and he hears a small voice. And he looks down, and he sees a frog talking to him. Hey, mister, pick me up and kiss me, and I'll turn into a beautiful princess to share your bed with you for the rest of your life. Well, the old guy puts the frog in his pocket, starts walking down. Then the frog speaks up again, kiss me and I'll satisfy your every romantic desire. The old man takes out the frog, see, and he thinks for a moment and he says, you know, at my age I think I'd rather have a talking frog.
Good morning, Jonah.
Morning.
When are you going to take me out for a ride like you promised?
Soon as I get this auto running.
A promise is a promise.
I know.
Good day, Jonah.
Well, I better get back to work.
Try not to blow yourself up.
Sherman Thacher rides in on his horse. He is one of the town's pillars and head of the Thacher School, as well as the Ojai Valley Men's League, the town's de facto ruling body. Chet exits the bakery with a sweet roll.
Chet,
Morning, Sherman.
I was hoping to run into you.
Well, what's on your mind?
Well, a couple of things. I was wondering if you could come up to the school to show a couple of the boys how to handle a rifle. I'd do it myself, but I don't have your skills.
Well, I might could do that.
Well, good.
Anything else?
Well, as you know, we're got a meeting of the Ojai Men's League this morning.
Well, I'll be skipping that.
Now, Chet, come on now, be reasonable. As a property owner, you know Mr. Libbey wants everybody's approval, including yours, to move ahead with his plans.
Well, there's your problem, you see.
What?
Well, in order for me to give my approval, it would mean I approve, and I don't.
Chet, Hickey, Dennison, and Sager, they've all signed on.
Sherman, I've been in this town for 43 years. I got it in my bones. And I ain't going to sit by and let some glass-blowing outsider come in here and ruin it.
Look, nobody's going to ruin it. Mr. Libbey's not going to waste his time and money unless he gets all of our support. His ideas are exactly what this town needs to move ahead.
This town's plenty good just the way it is.
Chet, it's the beginning of the 20th century. Change is coming, right? People are even flying in the air.
Flap-a-doodle.
All right, you go ahead and have your... Chet, come on now.
Now, you go ahead and have your little meeting. I got an appointment with a sweet roll.
As Chet departs, Thacher heads to the men's league meeting. Inside are the leading men of Ojai, including Walter Bristol.
The meeting of the Ojai Men's League is now called to order. Mr. Sherman Day Thacher presiding.
Now, as you all know, Mr. Edward Drummond Libbey is due to arrive tomorrow, Lord willing. He's coming to check on his proposal to finance bringing our town up to date so we can thrive both economically and creatively in this new century. I assume that we're all in agreement on that?
Yeah.
Now, the key to his plan is the acceptance of his ideas from local stakeholders. And a number of us have signed off to grant control to Mr. Libbey. However, not everyone has. When Mr. Libbey arrives, we will convene at the Boyd Club to discuss
Thacher is interrupted by a commotion in the entrance. Mrs. Frank Beeman, a formidable pillar of the Ojai Valley Women's League, marches with a contingent of local women into the room.
Mr. Thacher, Mr. Thacher, Mr. Thacher, may I have a word?
Certainly, Mrs. Beeman.
Mr. Thacher, are we to understand that the meeting with Mr. Libbey is to take place at the Boyd Club?
Yeah, that's correct.
The Boyd Club does not permit women,
Correct.
so we are not invited.
Well,
Do you gentlemen enjoy eating?
pardon?
Do you like to come home to a nice meal?
Well, yes, but
Do you like clean clothing, a tidy house,
of course,
educated children?
of course.
Do you like and desire affections that only a woman could give you, if you catch my meaning?
Yes.
We will be at that meeting, Mr. Thacher. You gentlemen will be abandoned to resort and revert back to the knuckle-dragging cave dwellers you supposedly wish to be.
Now, Mrs. Beeman, there is no need to get excited.
I'm not excited, Walter. You are.
Look, I'm sure we can accommodate your wishes.
Thank you, Sherman. It seems to me we ought to be able to accommodate change in this new century. I expect we will even have a woman president someday. Yes.
As you say.
Fine. By the way, we prepared a little Shakespeare for Mr. Libbey as well. Ladies, let's be off.
Well, any other business?
Well, there is the matter of Fox's liquor store.
Well, read the minutes.
Whereas liquor excites the heart, hinders digestion, disturbs the liver, and stupefies the brain, it is proposed to deny Fox a license to sell liquor. Fox has offered the following response. So as to get my license back, I promise to do away with gambling, music, loud women, prize fighting, and any other entertainment that is degrading to the liquor business.
Any objections? No. Well, be it resolved. This meeting is adjourned. Let's go have a drink.
Back at the hotel, Chet sits on his rocker on his balcony reading some Mark Twain. Jonah races on by.
Hey, what's your hurry?
There's some kind of accident in Casitas Springs. I'm going to take the auto over.
Well, you might want to rethink that.
Why?
Well, I know with a horse he'll make it up there and back.
You don't think my auto will?
I wouldn't bet the farm on it.
Ye of little faith. All right, I'll saddle up.
God loves a good Samaritan.
Later that day, all is quiet on Main Street. It's siesta time, a quiet and peaceful California afternoon, until a howl pierces the air. Chet comes out of his room to see Jonah arriving with Miss Schuyler Ellen Brimley, strapped in front of him on the horse, her injured leg in a splint. A crowd has gathered.
Holy Saint Swithin, get me off this thing!
Good Lord, woman, are you able to go 10 feet without belly aching?
Wow! Where did you learn to ride?
I'm not the one who fell off her horse. Now here, let me get you down from there.
Careful!
Judas Priest lady, you've been squawking for the last 2 hours. Is it possible for you to just keep quiet for a minute? That's all I'm asking, just a minute.
Afternoon, Jonah. Who have you got there?
I never got to hear her name between all the moaning and the groaning.
Schuyler Ellen Brimley of Lompoc. Oh!
So, someone better go get Doc Sager.
One of the crowd tears off for the Doc Sager as Jonah carries Schuyler in his arms to a rocker on the hotel porch.
Where in God's name am I?
Oh, hi, young lady.
Oh. Hi to you.
No.
You. Okay. Where am I?
Oh, hi. Oh, hi.
Okay. Hi. Hello. Now where am I?
Oh, hi. Oh, hi, California.
Spell it.
Ojai.
Ojai?
Right.
But I thought this was Nordal.
We just changed it to Ojai.
Why?
Well, with the war going on, people aren't too fond of German names. You German?
Brimley? German? Hardly.
Well, excuse me for asking.
So what's your name?
Mueller. Jonah Mueller.
Mueller. That wouldn't happen to be German, would it?
Doc Sager arrives.
I need to get to Los Angeles.
I don't think you're going anywhere just yet.
But
What's the problem?
She fell off her horse.
my horse threw me, and I sprained my ankle.
Sager inspects her foot. Her pain causes her to instinctively hold on to Jonah. They share an awkward moment before she lets go. There's a spark here dying to glow.
You've got a bad sprain, young lady. You need to get in bed and put ice on it immediately.
I need to get to Los Angeles.
That won't be possible. You're in no condition to ride.
Lord preserve me. Well, what am I going to do?
Well,
If I
the
get
problem.
ice.
That's a problem. There's no ice. The ice machine is broken.
Wonderful. Perfect.
There's still some ice up in Matilihaw Canyon, Jonah. Do you mind taking a ride up there to get some?
Why no? No, I can think of nothing I'd rather do.
Well, thank you.
Don't mention it.
Where's the hotel?
You're looking at it.
I guess it will have to do. Do you belong here?
Yes, I do.
Good. Those are my bags. I'll be inside.
You ought to keep that foot raised.
Well, Chet has arrived. Schuyler sits on a chair on the porch next to Chet's. Chet is fashioning a wooden stool together. He completes the job, inspects it, then sets the stool down next to her.
You got to keep that foot raised.
I'm fine. Thank you. You can go now.
Go where?
Wait. Anywhere it is, you go.
I go here.
Listen, no offense, but I'd very much like to be by myself.
Well, you can do that if you go inside, but this is my place here for the past 25 years, and I'm not going anywhere.
You live here?
Yup.
And you work here?
No.
I see. You're not the bellboy.
Last time I was a boy was way before you were born.
So when I asked you to take my bags, I am so sorry. I'm afraid I've acted very poorly.
Well, you were in a whole lot of pain. I guess we can forgive you.
Oh, thank you. I'm Skylar Ellen Brimley from Lompoc.
Pleased to meet you. Chester Crockett of Ojai, formerly Mink Slide, Tennessee. Most folks call me Chet.
Tennessee? I'd love to go to Tennessee. It sounds wonderful. Why'd you leave?
You ever been back east?
Well, that's the problem. I haven't really been anywhere.
Well, they got a little something back there called winter. Have you heard of that, Miss Brimley?
Call me Skylar, please.
I left winter 40 years ago, and there are parts of me that still haven't thawed. Now, what brings you to Ojai?
Well, I was on my way to Los Angeles when I fell.
What are you doing in Los Angeles?
I'm going to be a writer, Mr. Crockett.
Chet, that's so?
Well, yes.
Well, that's an honorable trade.
I want to dip my toes in each of the 7 seas. I want to see volcanoes erupt and glaciers melt. I want to eat wild boar with pygmies and drink fine wine at Buckingham Palace. I want to live before I die.
Die? How old are you?
22?
Merciful heavens, you're just a baby.
But I've never done anything. I feel like life is passing me by.
Life's right in front of you, young lady. It's happening right now. You don't have to dine with pygmies to see it.
But I want to.
Well, suit yourself.
But what about you? You haven't just sat on this porch your whole life.
Can't say as I have.
See? You've done things. Tell me what you've done.
It's all ancient history.
Tell me, please. I want to know.
Well, when I was your age, I was a soldier in the Union Army.
The Civil War?
That's right. Tennessee was a Confederate state, but I couldn't abide by owning another human being, so I joined General Sherman and marched all the way to the Atlantic. When they told me the war was over, I laid my rifle down and I started walking, and I didn't stop till I got to the Pacific. Met a pretty little gal, Santa Buenaventura. She helped me to forget all of that until she died in childbirth. After that, I guess you could say I was lost. I started to walk back east again. Made it 15 miles before I stopped here in Ojai, bought some property. I've been here 43 years, and I expect to have 6 feet of Ojai soil on me when it's over.
What made you lay down your rifle and start walking?
I read in today's paper, April 6, 1917, Wilson declares war in Europe, one tribe lording it over another, just like we did to the Shumash. It's all hogwash and greed, and I'm sick of it. This little room in this little town, all I need of heaven. That's why I don't cotton anybody coming in here and telling us how to make things right.
Well, I'm not trying to tell you how to do anything. Oh! Ah!
All right, this doesn't look good. I'm taking you to see someone.
It's night. Skylar sits in a horse-drawn cart led by Chet. They approach a Chumash encampment. As they do, a young Chumash girl runs down the path and throws herself into Chet's arms.
Grandpa!
There's my girl.
A Chumash man joins them.
Yes, ma'am. Need a favor.
What's that?
This is Miss Skylar Ellen of Brimley Longpoke, and she's got a twisted ankle that hurts just to look at it. Thought maybe you could fix up one of your poultices for her.
Let me take a look. Come on up and I'll see what I can put together.
Esteban leads them into the encampment. It's an assortment of lean-tos and huts with a central campfire. A very pregnant Chumash woman, Maria, comes out of one of the huts and greets Chet.
Hello, Chet.
Maria, Skylar, this is my daughter-in-law, Lily, and this is my granddaughter, Magdalena.
I'm pleased to meet you, Lily, and you too, Magdalena. Well, that's a lovely name.
What does Skylar mean?
I don't know. It was my grandmother's name.
I think it means pretty girl.
Well, okay. Thank you.
Please, sit.
I'm a little confused, Chet. So Lily is your daughter-in-law, and Magdalena is your granddaughter, and so Esteban is...
I'm his son.
Oh.
I told you, I met a woman when I first came out here who died in childbirth. She was Esteban's mother.
I see. When is your baby due?
In 1 moon.
And how long have you lived here?
See, Skylar wants to be a writer, so she's full of questions.
10,000 years.
Shumash had been here for 10,000 years.
10,000 years? The Shumash owned all of this for 10,000 years? All of Ojai?
Owned? Nobody owns Ojai. Nobody owns anything.
I don't understand.
Well, this land, everything on it, it's not ours. We're just tending it for a while.
But the town and the buildings, the people.
Well, in another 1,000 years, the Chumash will still be here, if the Great Spirit allows. The town, who knows what your people are capable of? My father told me General Sherman burnt the city of Atlanta to the ground, a city of 100,000 people. Ojai could disappear just like it came. Here, this poultice should take down the swelling.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I guess we'll head back.
It was so nice to meet you. And please, if you ever come into town before I leave, let me treat you to an ice cream soda or something.
You don't need to.
But I want to.
Well, thanks, son. I'll be in touch. Good night, Maria. Good night, Magdalena.
Chet? Would you mind if I asked you something personal?
Hadn't stopped you so far.
Why is it that you don't live with Esteban and Maria and Magdalena?
Well, that's a complicated question.
Oh, you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
The Chumash had a great culture for many years, but then the Spanish arrived and set up missions and slowly by persuasion and force dismantled the Chumash villages and made them give up their traditions. Wes and those like them harbor the bitterness over that. They're just as soon keep to their own.
But he's your son. He's half white.
That's the half he'd rather forget, and I don't blame him.
They arrive back in town. Jonah rides up with a saddlebag full of snow. He's had a long day and looks it.
Jonah, what took you so long?
I ran into a mother cougar. She wasn't too happy to see me. Kept me treed for a couple of hours until she got bored. Of course, by then the ice I had gathered melted, so I had to go back into the canyon again. Anyhow, here it is.
Well, Jonah, I don't know quite how to tell you, but I took her up to Esteban's, and she's got a poultice on, and we don't need ice no more.
You don't need it.
No.
You don't need it.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get drunk.
Mr. Mueller? Thank you. Wait, what was that?
What is?
What was that?
I don't know. I'm going to find it here on page 33.
I am.
Where the hell am I?
Right there.
They're not being paid, just so you know.
If we were, it'd be about the same.
That's how we know the electricity's about to be shut off.
Well, it has been quite the day.
Welcome to Ojai. Oh my God. All right.
April 7th, the next morning, back at the Creek Hotel.
Well, did you sleep well?
I dreamt I saw a Chumash dance.
Doesn't surprise me. This hotel was built on a Chumash ciliate.
A ciliate?
Yeah, that's a sacred place for rituals.
It was here?
I told you, you don't have to go searching for life. It's happening right here.
Nevertheless, I plan to leave as soon as the train arrives.
Well, suit yourself.
Thank you very much for last night. You've been very, very kind to me.
Well, any bellboy would have done the same.
Just then, Jonah walks by with a young woman.
Morning, Jonah.
Morning, Chet.
You sleep well?
Haven't gotten to it yet. Miss Brimley?
Who is she?
Oh, she works up at Imelda's ranch house.
Oh, is that a hotel?
No, not exactly.
Wha-
In a very loose sense of the word.
What's that mean?
It means you ask too many questions.
But how am I supposed to learn things if I don't ask questions?
Experience will teach you more than anything.
Well, maybe I'll just go up to Imelda's ranch house and experience it for myself.
Okay, tell you what. Why don't we just have a seat, and I'll answer your questions instead.
Mr. Mueller seems to be very popular.
Yeah, he does all right.
He never married.
Waiting for the right gal to come along. Why? You interested?
Heavens, no.
Could do worse.
Chet, the last thing I want to do is to settle down.
Like I said, you could do worse.
What are those mountains?
Oh. Well, way up there, that's Pine Mountain, which used to be the beach.
Beach?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Well, if you go up there, you're going to find all kinds of ancient seashells in the ground. Geologist fellow told me that Pine Mountain was the shoreline millions of years ago.
Incredible.
Same fellow told me a few more million years and Ojai will be up there where San Francisco is.
No.
That's what the fellow said.
What does Ojai mean, Chet?
Well, that's a good question. Some people think it means moon, some people say nest, and if you ask me, it means fundraiser.
Fundraiser.
Yeah, it struck a nerve.
Fundraiser. Fundraiser?
I'll tell you what. It seems like a week doesn't go by without someone throwing a fundraiser for the schoolhouse, the library, a fire pump. Gets so I see certain people coming and I just dive for cover.
Yeah.
See, there's one of them coming now. Hell, she spotted me.
Oh.
Hoisted on my own petard.
Humor do, Mr. Chet.
I'm fine, Hooley. How are you?
Yaw morphine, yaw morphine.
Well, that's swell.
Mr. Chet, I am collecting for a memorial plaque for the new post office tower
What do we need a plaque for?
to honor Mr. Libbey for building it.
Well, you're barking up the wrong tree on that one.
Barking?
I'm not interested.
But Mr. Chet, Mr. Libbey.
Mr. Libbey is a carpetbagger who thinks he knows what Ojai needs better than
Oh,
Ojai does.
no. He's a very generous man.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion. Now get.
Get
Skedaddle. Goodbye. Goodbye now.
Well, weren't you awfully abrupt with her? Why were you?
Was I?
Well, this Mr. Libbey really gets your goat. Who's he?
They came here on a vacation a few years ago and somehow decided it was his destiny to spruce this place up to his specifications.
He built the post office tower.
Yes, and the arcade and the pergola.
Well, it seems like he's done some nice things.
Well, enough's enough. Who knows what else he's planning on changing?
But sometimes change is good.
Sometimes it isn't.
When does the train arrive?
Oh, no, that's not a when question as much as it is an if question.
Oh, I'm not going to be stuck here, am I?
Would that be so bad?
It would be awful. No offense, Chet, but this is a one-horse town. I couldn't be happy in a place like this. I need to see the world.
You wait long enough and the world will come to you. Hell, you got a native shoemash, Chinese, Mexican, Europeans, all here in this little bitty Ojai.
I'm not interested in writing little bitty stories, Chet.
Their conversation is interrupted when a traveling troupe of performers, jugglers, musicians, and actors wheels into town in their gaily covered caravans, singing as they go. The troupe is led by a flamboyant Englishman, Peter Badger. He stands in the center and addresses the town.
Why ring not out the bells aloud throughout the town? Command the citizens, make bonfire and feast, and banquet in the open streets to celebrate the joy that God has given us. Good sir, have we come to the Ojai?
You have.
Have the celebrations begun?
Which celebrations?
Well, we have been contracted to perform for the Honorable Edward Drummond Libbey.
You have you?
Indeed.
And who are you?
I am Peter Badger, proprietor and impresario of Badger Girls Players and Madrigali. And you, sir?
Chester Crockett.
Well, Sir Chester Crockett, what sport shall we devise here in this garden to drive away the heavy thoughts of care?
Look, Libbey, he hasn't arrived yet, and I don't have any idea what you're here for.
Well, they thought it good you hear a play and frame your mind to mirth and merriment, which bears 1,000 harms and lengthens life.
If I were you, I would go park your forks and wait for Sherman Thacher.
Ah, yes, Mr. Thacher indeed. Well then, I will see the players well bestowed, for they are the abstract and brief chronicle of the time.
Donald Ricketts, a local loudmouth bully, walks by and stops and stares at Badger.
My, what do we have here?
I beg your pardon?
You some kind of dandy boy? Well, you can beg it all you want, but I ain't giving it to no sissy.
Good sir, if you please.
I'm pleased to kick your ass.
Thou art not noble, and your accommodations that thou bearest are nursed in baseness.
What'd you say?
Ricketts,
What do you want?
what do you think you're doing?
What's it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're about to meet your maker if you don't leave that man alone.
Mind your own business, Gramps.
What'd you call me?
Old man, it's time for you to move on like everyone in this town wants.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything. That was just some low-life prairie scum with nothing better to do, don't you? They just don't pay him no never mind.
Well, sir, I bid you my thanks, and farewell.
Very well.
A while later, Schuyler sits on the porch alone. Jonah arrives carrying a set of homemade crutches.
Miss Brimley,
Oh, Mr. Mueller.
I thought you could use these.
Oh, well, that's very thoughtful.
I can cut them down if they're too long.
Oh, no, they're fine. Would you like to sit down?
All right, I guess. How are
I
you?
appreciate.
Go ahead.
No, you.
How's the ankle?
Oh, well, it's much better.
You need to stay off it for a while.
What I need is to get to Los Angeles.
Los Angeles?
Yes.
Well, watch out. Last time I was there, I must have seen 50 cars that day. It's getting so crowded, you wouldn't believe it. Gasoline was 3 cents a gallon.
I will bear that in mind.
Chet tells me you're a writer?
Yes.
What have you written? Anything I might have read?
Do you read much?
All the time.
Well, I've only really written in my journals, and that's why I'm traveling. I need the experience.
So where have you been?
I'm afraid the extent of my world travels has been from Lompoc to here.
Well, you gotta start somewhere. As soon as I save up some money, I'm hitting the road too.
I don't blame you. This town is too small.
This town is not too small. It's my home, and it's just fine. Doesn't mean I don't want to see what else is out there. I need the stimulation.
Yes, but
Jonah, my parasol is broke.
you talk about your stimulation.
Can you fix it for me, sugar?
Sure, come by later.
No, Jonah, now. I want it now.
I'm speaking to someone.
Jonah.
Ah, well, will you excuse me?
Certainly.
What you got there?
Well, Mr. Mueller brought these crutches over for me.
Oh, ain't that sweet?
It was considerate, I suppose.
I'd say he's got his eye on you.
He may have his eyes on me, but he's got his hands on someone else.
Well, don't pay that no attention.
I don't.
Trains are coming! Mr. Libbey's here!
Exciting?
Know that.
I like it. I like
Somebody's
it.
got to say that to me.
Yeah, I know.
All mayhem breaks loose. Children climb trees to view. People rush to the depot with carts and service. Badgers, players gather. It's mayhem. Libbey's here.
You coming, Chet?
I believe I'll set this one out, Sherman. Seen plenty of trains in my time.
Be nice to have you there when Mr. Libbey arrives.
Well, he'll survive.
Well, I wish you'd reconsider, Chet. People are pressuring me to turn this around, and I need your support.
I'm afraid that's not going to happen.
Chet, I've never known you to be unreasonable.
Mr. Libbey's waiting.
What was all that about?
Well, there you go again with your questions.
You're a little touchy, Chet.
I guess I am. I'm not accustomed to folks leaning on me to do something I don't want to do, by God.
I gather that.
Now, I'm going to go visit my granddaughter. You want to come?
Chet, I'm going to be leaving with the train.
You are?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Look, thank you for everything.
Does Jonah know you're going?
No. Tell him thank you for me, won't you?
Well, goodbye then.
Chet, you take care of yourself.
Edward Drummond Libbey has arrived. All the revelers who marched to the depot now return in parade formation. The atmosphere is carnival-like. Many children, sparklers, music, jugglers, acrobats, and singers. The parade comes to rest, and Edward Drummond Libbey is driven up in an open-top auto, accompanied by Sherman, Thacher, and Peter Badger.
Hear ye, hear ye! Oh, how this spring of love resembleth the uncertain glory on an April day, which now shows all the beauty of the sun. And on this April day, we welcome Mr. Edward Libbey of Ohio to Ojai, where all is present and meet.
It is with great pleasure that I introduce someone whose vision and love for this town that we call home can lead us in the changes we will need to make to face the challenges of the 20th century and beyond. And so, without further ado, I give you Mr. Edward Drummond Libbey.
And tell me, what town is this?
Ojai!
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. What town is this?
Ojai!
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, whenever I leave my home in Ohio to come to Ojai, my friends all ask me why. Why Ojai? The answer is simple. Each time my train leaves Ventura and enters this valley, I find myself grinning from ear to ear. And why? I look around at the magnificent setting, the fragrant orchards, the rolling streams, the towering mountains that enfold us. But most of all, look around at each other. You, the people of Ojai, are the catalyst that takes these mountains and streams and orchards, the stores and churches, and most importantly, the homes, and through your alchemy makes this valley into a veritable paradise. And so, my friends, with your help, we can indeed work alchemy, and hopefully, 100 years from now, in 2017, the people of Ojai will look back with fondness on our efforts here today, for our efforts would be selfish, if only for ourselves. No, we strive to make life better for them and their children, their grandchildren, and their grandchildren's grandchildren. So let us begin. And God bless Ojai, and God bless America.
We're now in Libbey's living room up at his estate.
How are you enjoying your stay, Edward?
Oh, my stays in Ojai are the best tonic I could ever ask for.
We'd love to have you move here full time.
Not everyone shares your sentiment.
You're proposing a big change, Edward. Some people aren't as open to change as others.
Yeah, that's always the case, I'm afraid.
Well, Edward, I understand your concern. You're devoting a sizable amount of time and money to Ojai, and you don't want to see it go to naught.
As you know, my intention is not to force anything on anyone. But at the same time, if we can't move ahead in a timely fashion, I'm afraid my efforts in Ojai will be limited to an occasional visit as a tourist.
Now, we can't let that happen. Your plans are exactly what Ojai needs.
Speaking of which, allow me to show you my drawings, the drawings I've had prepared by Messrs. Mead and Requa. Now that the post office and arcade are up, we need a first-class downtown hotel, something that will attract visitors from all over. Once the Civic Association is formed, we can begin the work.
Magnificent. A toast to a new beginning.
That, my friend, is up to you and your friends.
All right, a couple of months have gone by. We're back on Chet's porch, and Chet is reading a letter.
Howdy, Chet.
Howdy.
What you got there?
Why, I do believe it's a letter.
Good news, I hope?
It's from Skylar.
Oh, is that so?
Yep, she's been in Los Angeles for only a couple of months, and she's already making waves. Don't suppose you want to hear what she says?
Well, you could, if you want.
Well, if you're not interested.
Well, you know, Chet, if you want.
Well, never mind. Well, looky here.
What?
Oh, never mind.
Oh, God, Chet!
All right. She says here that she would at a function and happened to meet Mr. Harry Chandler.
She's met someone.
Yep. Turns out he owns the paper called the Los Angeles Times.
Never heard of it.
Apparently others have.
Well, good for her. I guess we'll never hear from her again now that she's off with the Richie folk.
That's not exactly true.
What do you mean?
Turns out she's also got to know Mr. Harry Chandler's wife.
He's married.
Apparently so.
Oh.
Anyhow, Miss Schuyler showed Mrs. Chandler her journals about her time in Ojai. And the Chandler woman suggested that Schuyler do a story on us for the paper. Looks like Miss Schuyler's coming back. How do you like that?
She's a real humdinger, that one.
I couldn't help but notice when you were coming around here like a tomcat, hoping to get her eye.
That's just the thing, Chet. Why was I coming around when it seems like all we did was fuss at each other?
Well, you got to think on that a while. I'm fairly certain an answer will come to you.
We're at Main Street, early June 1917. Chet and Jonah doze on chairs at the hotel. Schuyler arrives. She sees them and approaches quietly, then bellows.
Say! Anyone know where I can get a room around here?
Good Lord Almighty.
Hello, Chet.
Mercy.
Jonah. Hello.
Schuyler.
Well, let's get a look at you. Well, you're still skinny as 6 o'clock.
How's your ankle?
Oh, my.
Well, doesn't look like the big city's done too much damage to you.
Oh, why, thank you, kind sir.
Of course, a big city gal like you might look down her nose at our little town.
Oh, hush now.
How long are you staying?
Oh, well, that depends.
On what?
On my story.
What is your story?
Well, that's what I'm here to find out.
Well, let's get you settled in.
Is my room still available?
No, they haven't torn the place down yet.
Well, that sounds like a story.
It's late afternoon. Chet and Schuyler are back in their spots on their porches. Chet reads Moby Dick, and Schuyler writes in her journal. After a few moments, she looks up.
Chet, look at the light.
Yeah. Yes, that's called the pink moment.
But what is it?
Well, there's two answers to that. One is that most coastal valleys run north-south. Ojai runs east-west. That's why the light's so different at sunset.
Oh, it's stunning.
Yep.
What's the other reason?
It's simple. It's Ojai.
Chet, what happened when you were with your wife?
What do you mean?
Well, how did people treat you coming from two different cultures?
Well, there was some rough going. There's no denying.
Well, but how did you handle it?
Well, we figured if people were too stubborn and ignorant to accept a new way of looking at things, then just get out of the way because we're coming anyhow.
Do you miss her?
Every day.
The next morning, Schuyler walks down the street, pen and paper in hand, making notes. As she walks, an older woman passes, and Schuyler stops her.
Oh, excuse me. Do you know what time it is?
9:15.
Thank you.
You're new here.
Yes, I'm Schuyler Brimley. And you?
People call me Miss Imelda, among other things.
Of Imelda's ranch house?
That's right. You looking for work?
Well, actually, I have a job.
What's that?
I'm a writer. I'm writing about Ojai.
You gonna write about me?
I don't know. Should I?
Don't think they'd print it.
Why? What do you do?
I'm in the relief business.
I'm in the relief business. Relief, what kind?
You don't get around much, do you?
What do you mean?
Take my advice. Stick to writing about the town.
But you're part of it.
Let's just keep that between you and me, sweetie. Gotta go.
Schuyler continues to walk down the street and runs into Esteban, Maria, and Magdalena.
Well, hello!
Hello.
Hello.
Do you remember me?
Yes, you're a pretty lady.
Yes, that's right.
Dad told me you were coming back. How's your ankle doing?
Well, whatever that poultice was worked wonders. How are you, Maria?
Fine.
And don't I owe you an ice cream cone?
Yes.
As they walk to the ice cream parlor, Donald Ricketts and a couple of his thuggish friends approach from the opposite direction. As they pass, Ricketts deliberately shoves a shoulder into Esteban.
Watch your step, boy. I'm sorry. Did you say something?
No.
What are you doing with them?
Well, that's none of your business.
Well, you better watch out, or they'll scalp you.
I'm not looking for any trouble.
Oh, you may not be looking, but you found some.
Please move.
Ain't she polite?
Look, if you don't move, I'll kick you where your manhood would be if you had any.
Shut up! What's so funny?
You are.
Oh, keep your mouth shut, you little half-breed.
Being part Chumash and part white is better than being all stupid.
Ricketts grabs Magdalena's arm roughly, and Esteban's fist automatically shoots out like an angry snake and lays Ricketts flat. His thugs pounce on Esteban, and Esteban puts up a valiant effort, but the numbers are against him until Jonah and Chet come around the corner. They see what's happening, and they immediately jump in, waiting, and swing. Bam, bam, bam. Thugs are down and out.
I've been wanting to do that for a long time.
Thanks.
You okay, son?
Yep. Jonah?
Skinned a few knuckles, but it was worth it.
Well, why don't you come with me and let me put something on them?
Well, that sounds just about fine to me, Skylar.
The next day, Chet strolls down the street. After a few steps, he sees Thacher approaching. He turns around to escape, but finds Walter Bristol right there behind him.
Mr. Libbey needs an answer, Chet.
You got my answer.
Are you willing to be the only one in town to oppose this?
There are probably a few others that agree with me.
But you agreeing would do a lot to change their minds.
Chet, we're asking you for the last time to reconsider.
That it, then?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Except for this. I'd hate for you to go to your grave as someone who held this town back, especially after all you've meant to it. Good day, Chet.
Skylar and Jonah are perched on an overhanging limb of a large sycamore tree.
What a beautiful spot.
It's called Camp Comfort. Stagecoach coming in from Ventura to Ojai will stop here for the night.
It's so peaceful.
This all used to belong to a smart Mexican fella named Don Fernando Tico. 17,700 acres, all of Ojai.
Well, what happened to him?
His wife wanted to live in Santa Barbara, so he sold it.
He must have really loved her.
I would say so, because they say this land might go for as much as $5 an acre someday.
$5 an acre?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's hard to believe.
Well, that's what they say.
You've lived here your whole life,
Every bit of it.
and you don't want to live anywhere else to see other things?
I told you I want to see it all. But this is my home. This is where I'll come back to.
Tell me what it is you want to see, Jonah.
I want to dip wild boar in the 7 seas and drink fine wine with the pygmies on a melting glacier. I want to go see a volcano erupt in Buckingham Palace.
Wait a minute. How did you know that was Chet? Chet, he is such a scoundrel. How long have you known him?
My whole life. When my dad disappeared on us, Chet sort of took over, kept an eye on me. Now it's my turn.
What do you mean?
Old guy's not going to live forever. I'd like to see him enjoy what he's got left.
He doesn't seem very happy about Mr. Libbey.
Yeah, I know. It's too bad.
What is?
Chet's alone, out on a limb like that.
He is?
Yeah.
You think he's wrong?
Yeah, I do. Mr. Thacher and them, they all know change is coming, and trying to stop it is a fool's errand. Libbey is got a bunch of great ideas and a pocket full of money to make them happen, and everybody wants it to happen.
What are Libby's ideas?
Come on, I'll tell you on the way home.
Jonah dismounts and helps Schuyler down. For a moment, they linger in each other's arms, a few shades longer than necessary. And in that shade, we are now in the evening at the hotel. Schuyler writes intently, then puts her pen down, and then starts to proofread what she has written as Chet comes out of his room.
Figured out what your story is?
I think I have.
Let's hear it.
I'm not sure you're going to like it.
Why not?
You once told me that you admired writers.
I do.
And you wouldn't want a writer to write something that avoided the truth.
It wouldn't be good writing.
No. No, it wouldn't.
So, read me your story.
It's called Inventing Ojai, and I tell some of the stories you told me about Pine Mountain being the beach, and how the pink moment happens, and about the Chumash, Mr. Thatcher's school, and about Jonah, and Esteban, and Mr. Libbey, but then I close with this. In the end, Ojai is a place of enchanting beauty, a magical valley nestled away in its own world. But the world is changing, and change inevitably is coming to Ojai as well. And as a good friend once told me, if people are too stubborn and ignorant to see things in a new way, then get out of the way because it's coming anyhow. Edward Libbey's vision is clearly the future of Ojai, and those who can't see that should get out of the way because it's coming anyhow. Chet?
Think I'll take a little walk.
Oh, Chet.
The Libbey estate. A knock on the door. Libbey answers it.
Chet,
Ed?
come in. This is a surprise. Can I get you anything?
Well, I got maybe some sour mash whiskey.
I'm sorry, Chet. I don't hold with that.
Oh.
But what's on your mind?
This.
Chet removes his wallet, takes out a folded piece of paper, and hands it to Libbey.
Your agreement.
That's right.
It's unsigned.
That's right.
What is this about, Chet?
I wasn't about to sign that so you can hand over the deeds to the Civic Association.
I do.
Then I want something from you.
What is it?
You and I were born in the last century, but you've managed to enter this one with a different way of looking at things. Somehow I'm still stuck back there, and I come to realize that's not right.
What can I do, Chet?
You can look me in the eye and promise me that you won't ever cut another timber, lay another brick, or pave another road without first thinking what's best for this town.
That's all I've ever wanted. Chet, what changed your mind?
I've done enough stubborn, ignorant things in my life. I don't want to die that way too.
Back at the hotel with Schuyler and Jonah.
And I couldn't tell what he was thinking. I just hope he's not angry at me.
At you? No, not likely. I know he's got a special place in his heart for you. So do I.
Oh, Chet. Chet, did I hurt your feelings? Because if I did, I want you to know that I would never, ever, ever want to do that.
I know that.
You okay, Chet?
I'm tired. Think I'll turn in. Can't remember when I felt so tired.
Good night, Chet.
What the hell is that?
Fire!
Fire!
And so the Great Fire of June 16, 1917 begins. There's mayhem everywhere as people rouse themselves and struggle to organize against the blaze. Explosions, smoke, shouting, horses, fire lines, tools exchanged. The town people fight furiously through the night to extinguish the firestorm. Hours later, it ends as our folks gather together, exhausted.
Well, it looks like we beat it.
Foothill Hotel's gone. It's a disaster.
Is everyone all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? Good.
Where's Chet?
Chet.
Chet? Well, last I saw him, he was up at Hickey's.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on, let's
Oh.
go.
No.
Come on, let's go.
Chet.
Chet!
In the darkness, the bell in the tower tolls. This time it is long and slow, a dirge, signaling a death. We are back at Esteban's home encampment as Jonah and Esteban sit around a fire.
It's been a month already. Seems like yesterday. You know he was like a dad to me? I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No. There was plenty of Chet to go around, and I know you meant a lot to him. You remember that time he took us camping up in the Sespe?
Worst 3 meals of my life.
Couldn't cook worth a damn.
He could hunt and fish with the best of them, but once he got it in the pan, oh. We had fun, though.
Yeah, we did.
I sure miss him.
Me too.
All right, it's a wedding scene. Skylar and Jonah facing each other center stage, a minister above them, Thacher, Libbey, Maria, Magdalena at their side. Many town folks fill in the background.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
He tosses the bouquet. Magdalena catches it.
Uh-oh. Look who's next.
Congratulations. Chet would be very proud.
So where are you honeymooning?
We're off to see the 7 seas.
Fortunately, I married an heiress.
Well, if you're ever in Toledo, you're welcome in our house.
Esteban drives up in a car and gets out, and Skylar and Jonah get in.
Here you go.
Goodbye, Esteban.
Goodbye, Skylar.
I wish Chet was here.
He is. Just look around.
Goodbye, Maria.
Are you leaving forever?
Oh, no. No, we're coming back.
You are?
Of course, sweetie. Home is where the heart is. And our heart is here in Ojai. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good
fun.
Mr. Massey.
And so, as the pink moment paints the Topa-Topas, Skylar and Jonah motor off to their new adventure. And the town people slowly head back to their homes and schools and businesses, awaiting the challenges and changes that invented and will continue to invent Ojai into what it is today, July 2nd, 2017. And what town is this?
Ojai!
I'm sorry. What town is this?
Ojai!
Yeah. all for coming. Thank you to the Ojai Museum and the Ojai Performing Arts Theater. I want to thank Mike Tregler on sound and Claire on lights, Kenny Dahl, who's the house manager, and Doogie Seliger, who was our stage manager. Also want to thank Richard Camp, Stuart Crowner, and the one and only Joan Kemper. Thank you.
Oh, the 50 man? Sorry.